Hi, and welcome to the Resilience and Brilliance Single Women's Summit, where we are learning to live your happy, create prosperity, and always be true to you. I'm your host, Emily Kobeck. Thank you so much for being here. If this is the place, if you're in your place in your life where you know that you need to do some work with money, heal with money, understand money, create any kind of healthy relationship. You want more money. If you're wondering why you've never had more, what's happening, this is the conversation for you. This is the place to be. I am a big proponent, and you've probably heard me say this multiple times, depending on how long you've been coming to these events, but multiple times I will tell you that the relationship, having a healthy relationship with money is a quintessential piece to your success, to you being able to live your purpose, to being able to live your happy. And I can say this too, like it doesn't matter. I mean, it does, always healing matters, but if it's like I can guide a woman to their healing. I can help heal sexual trauma, childhood trauma. But if a woman is living paycheck to paycheck or in debt and struggling and not seeing a way out of it, they are not going to thrive. They're not going to feel hopeful. And it's not living in your happy. It's not living your happy. So these conversations around money, I think it's really important. Be on all of these conversations. Be on every one. Watch them once, go back a month later and watch them again. Be in these conversations with the experts that have done the work, that have created plans and journeys and systems to help heal relationships with money. And so you can do the same. And then choose one. I would say choose someone to work with that you resonate with, that maybe this will, this conversation leads you to doing some research and you find the person. Watching, you don't even have to hire though. You can get their free gifts. You can watch YouTube videos. All of these speakers have so much content. I hope you can feel it. I'm really jazzed up. My next guest is an incredible woman. She's a teacher and coach. She spent 23 years teaching and coaching business owners and families to solve the gritty human problems that prevent them from finding fulfillment in their business and in life. She's the author of Love Money, Money Loves You, and Energy on Demand, Master Your Personal Energy and Never Burn Out. She writes a weekly article. You can find her on her blog. And she has done so much to transform her relationship with money. She has so much wisdom to share. She's the co-originator of Love To and founder of Liberate Humanity. She's an energy master and healer. Welcome, Sarah McCrumb. Hi, Sarah. Thank you so much for being with us today. We really appreciate you being here.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah. I'm so excited to hear how you help women transform their relationship with money. Can you tell us a little bit about your journey and how you got to be the expert at this?
Yes. Well, initially it came out of probably something like 20 plus years of training with Chinese masters. So it's very important to understand that, because Chinese masters talk about energy all the time. And energy, like human energy, life energy, became my fundamental language, I would say. So I tend to experience everything and talk a lot about energy. And at a certain point, having learned a lot of this, I experienced, well, my business failed. It was a business that was teaching people about energy and how to have more energy and things like that. And having a business failure is a very, very difficult experience. And shortly after that, when I was completely broke, I found myself writing messages for money. However odd it might sound, that's what I experienced. I think lots of people actually sometimes find themselves writing random messages. But it was actually the first time it was a single message from money. And it was like it was introducing itself to me as something completely different from what I'd ever really understood. And it gave me this message. I was just writing, they weren't my own words. It was so beautiful and so generous. And the first thing it said to me was, I'd like to tell you to love me. And that was like, what? Money? Like, you're not even supposed to love money. And it went on. And it said, I'm an energy and I'm very beautiful and powerful and I connect human beings together and all this kind of stuff. And then what happened is it was so surprising for me and so touching that I decided to see if money had something more to say to me. And so a couple of days later, I sat down with my notebook again and I said, like, anything else there? And I wrote another message from money. And the first thing it said was, you all need to relax about money. And so I did this day after day for a while and ended up with over 60 of these messages from money, which I then later published in a book, which is called Love Money, Money Loves You. And then some years later, I started teaching people how to transform their relationship with money aligned with the messages that I received in my book, which means that that money is really founded on the principles of love and abundance and generosity and deeply aligned with nature. And that's very different. We tend to find that money makes us against nature and often takes us into scarcity and fear and worry. And love is not often associated with money. But when you switch all of that around, it's such a profound change. It's not just like, how do I make some more income, or how do I, it really isn't about that. It actually kind of touches into our relationship with life and our relationship with ourselves. And so it changes everything. When we start to look at money, it seems like everything else gets involved at the same time.
You talk more about how money is deeply aligned with nature. I've not heard anyone say that statement before.
Yes. Well, first of all, I think we first of all need to understand that we as human beings are a part of nature, actually. We often see ourselves as being the kind of sitting on top of nature almost, and we can see ourselves as being the destroyers of nature. And yes, we can have some very destructive behaviors, and we can then sometimes say, okay, I don't want to be like that, so I'm going to be a lover of nature. We're actually nature itself, we're a part of it. And everything that we do springs up out of nature. And money, the way I see money is it's essentially the way that it enables us to contribute our gifts into the kind of common good of humanity. So you coach people, that's your gift. You share that with people who want some coaching. They want to become a better person, basically. So you're contributing your gift for the well-being of other people, and some people for the well-being of our entire system here. And that's what money supports. It's like the fuel of all of that. And when you see it that way, and when you see that it's coming from human beings, like human beings use it and we're a part of nature, and when you see it being something that's an expression of love and beauty and goodness, which is what we can do with money, you start to see that it aligns with the fundamental principles of life. So I think that what my book really did was say, hey, you've misunderstood money. You've somehow pitted it against life. And that's not what it really is. It's something that's aligned with life and therefore aligned with nature. And when you look at it the right way, you'll do the right things with it, and that will do the right things with nature as well.
What are some of the steps that we can take to get to that place where it feels like that harmony with it?
Well, the biggest thing really is to shift your understanding around it. I don't think it's possible to have an understanding of money that it's scarce or limited or a corrupting influence or dangerous or something that you should feel ashamed about, or all of those many things. Like, if you have that kind of understanding of money, it's really difficult to make the kind of change I'm talking about. When you change your understanding of what money is, like, you actually look at it more deeply. That's really what my book does, is it says, hey, this is what money really is. It's not that thing that you've thought it was. That was just a mistake. It was a misunderstanding. It's actually something much more beautiful than that. When your understanding of it changes, it's it's almost like when your energy changes, your whole kind of expression changes. Because if you think about it, if you think of money as something that's scary or that you feel very conflicted about, all the decisions you make around it are going to have that conflict and fear in them. But if you feel that money is something beautiful that enables you to share your gifts with the world more fully and more generously, you want to engage with money. You're not afraid of it anymore. And then you want to use it wisely. Like, why would you use it to hurt you, for example? Why would you buy things that hurt you? You'd want to buy things that are good for you and good for other people, because you don't have this inner conflict that you're probably not even aware of, where money just feels so uncomfortable that you never really have kind of natural relaxed behavior around it. When our understanding changes, we start to relax about it. We stop worrying. That's what I see all the time. People write emails saying, I'm not worried about it anymore. Whether they have it or they don't have it, they stop worrying about it and they start to relate with it.
Oh, it sounds like, I mean, so it sounds like without the worry, without the stress, like there's a trust there. You trust. Is that what it is? You build a relationship of trust. Is it just in the energy of money, or is it also in the energy of life?
I mean, if you trust, if you have that trust in the energy of money, you pretty much are for sure to have it in life, because money goes so deeply into our expression of life. It kind of solves both at the same time. But I think there's a step on the way to trust. It's very difficult to trust something that feels inherently unreliable, or there's never enough of it and things like that. When we start to relax about money and stop experiencing it through this lens of fear and worry and stress, we actually start to see things more clearly and we get more honest with ourselves. So you could look at it and say, yes, I don't have enough money to pay all my bills, for example. And I'm not even looking at the bills. I'm in complete denial about that, as if I think they'll go away if I don't look at them. And so people start to look at their bills. Or somebody might say, I'm running my business in an unsustainable way, or I'm living in a way, I know that the way I'm spending money isn't right, but I'm just going to keep going. And what happens is when you relax about it, you can get more clear. And then you look at it, you're more willing to look at it and face the truth of your reality. It's rather like, actually, I was going to have a relationship example, which isn't a good example for single women. But let's say in a friendship, for example, you can pretend, maybe you have a friendship that's just not feeling really good anymore. And you can go on pretending with each other for quite a long time. But it's much more powerful to actually face the truth, be honest with each other, and see, is your friendship just moving in a different direction? Or actually, do you need to clean something out and kind of get a bit of a new base? And if we live in denial, or we just keep ourselves in that stressed place all the time, we never give ourselves permission to have that clarity and that truth-facing moment that is what allows us to change.
Is this 100% of the time? Like, do you see results 100%? If someone really gets to that place where they feel they have trust in money, then what happens? And is that it? And I'll tell you why I'm asking that after I hear your answer.
Well, I don't think there's anything like in life wherever we can say that's it. I think we always have this dream. I remember for years and years and years, I used to just feel like if I would do the right thing, then somehow after that, everything will be all right. And it was I think of it as a kind of blue sky thing. It's like, if I just do the right thing, it'll never rain anymore, and there'll never be any more clouds, and the sun will always shine, and the sky will always be blue. And it's not like that, because life isn't like that. What perhaps the more honest truth is that the better you get at money based on a good relationship with money, the bigger challenges you can handle, and therefore the more you do with your money. So, for example, you go from becoming somebody who's perhaps just earning money to make a living to become somebody who's earning a lot of money, and then you start to make decisions about perhaps what you invest your money in so you can do good with your money. You have power with that money. Or maybe you're a business owner and you can decide what you do with it. But what happens is you get more and more capable, and therefore you can solve bigger and bigger challenges. And I think once you have that deep alignment with money and love and nature, what you really want then is to do bigger things, contribute bigger things. Now that's usually a down and up process. Like, it's very challenging. And so sometimes it feels like, oh my God, I haven't learned anything, but always on the way to actually expanding and growing. So in a way, what I would say is, once you learn this, like, it's always true. I've never found any example where the fundamental principles of love and generosity and alignment with nature are not true. But what we experience in our individual lives, how to say it, it's like the truth always shines through. And sometimes we're not, we're just in a place where we're learning something. It's more difficult for some people than it is for others.
I love that answer. I love that answer. Love and generosity, like those are always foundational energies that we want to access, right?
Yes, it's so natural, isn't it? Like, who wouldn't?
Yes. And then but one of the things that I'm noticing, um, I've been noticing in the new age movement, we're kind of we're into the new age movement, but I feel like there's a spiritual gaslighting happening sometimes where maybe you recognize this sometimes too, like where I can think of a coach or teacher, or someone who's telling you you have to, like, if it doesn't happen, it's because of what you've done. It's because you're not in trust, or you haven't forgiven enough, or you don't have faith enough. With money, like you don't trust money enough. And it's like, I can only be the best I can be. And then it's still not working. And then it becomes this sort of shaming or this like guilting, or I didn't do it good enough. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, totally.
Heard
I've
this. I'd love for
absolutely.
you to speak to that and I want to start unraveling this so that women can, when they do pay a coach, when they do hire a mentor, like they recognize that this is something that's rampant in what's going on right now, I think. And I'd love for someone to just start naming it so we can see it and get ourselves out of that situation.
Yeah, well, thank you. You're the person who's really named it here. And yes, I've absolutely been through the inner torture of feeling that there was something wrong with me. That's what it turned into, actually. There was something wrong with me, which was the reason why I wasn't getting the results that either everyone else appeared to be getting or I should have been getting, according to whatever I was being taught. And it's a horrible, horrible place to be. And you can get, I will just explain a little bit more about what happens there, because I think it's important to draw attention to it. You can get into this kind of place where you think, okay, so I'm doing it wrong. And so you try harder and harder and harder, and then it doesn't work. And then you feel like even worse about yourself, to the point where you can feel as though you're so fundamentally flawed that you're never going to get it right. You're never going to be able to do it because there's something fundamentally wrong with you. And I meet many people who experience that. And I really struggled with that myself for a long time. And that's a way of giving up, actually, funnily enough. It's a really understandable way of giving up. It's like, I've got to give myself an out here. So maybe if I'm fundamentally flawed, then I can't make it, whatever making it might mean. And it kind of takes us out of the pain and the struggle, but it also takes us out of engaging with our own life. So it's not a good place to get to. There are other variations. The thing that I've learned through really many years of working, learning stuff for myself and teaching people, is that you cannot ever judge or blame another human being or yourself for where you are in your life, because you have no idea really what sits behind this story. You might be sitting next to someone in a class, or they're next to you on the Zoom screen, who's having ecstatic, blissful moments about whatever the thing is that you're learning in your coaching, and you're sitting there feeling like a complete fool, like I have no clue. I haven't got any results. None of this is working for me. It sounds true. I believe it, or I'd like to believe it. And I just, what's wrong with me? You can sit there, but who knows what sits behind your story and what sits behind their story? And what I had to do to find this out was to start working on things like, I don't really work with past lives as such, but I realize that a lot of patterns come from before when we're born. And I think they do come from previous life experiences, things that have not been resolved. I've come to the understanding that we are not born a clean slate. We may have this kind of baby innocence that we have nothing, but every parent knows that their children were not like clean slates that just developed. They came in with something, and they come in with a consciousness that has formed elsewhere, and mostly, I would say, in previous lives. And you might be a person who has a string of appalling experiences with money behind you that needs to be sorted out. And somebody else might be in a completely different stage in their life. And what I discovered is the people who have the worst, like I was one of those, so I can speak with authority in a way, have the worst history, hidden history, which just means you sabotage yourself horribly all the time, are the people who also have the greatest potential to do something amazing as they come to resolve the deep underlying issues. So if you understand that, it might still be that there's a whole lot of, you still need to be persistent to get the results. I had to take years to get results that other people got in days, but the reward for doing that is so great that you would never, ever want to walk away from the process if you understood what's happening. It's kind of life giving you an opportunity to be who you really are.
How do you walk women through this? So if someone were watching this, we have a woman watching this and she's like, my relationship with money has been a struggle. It's been a struggle. And she's hearing your message and she's resonating. So what is it that you offer to your clients? How do you help them to get, and what does it look like when they've arrived at the, again, like whatever success is, for everyone, it's different. And it doesn't even necessarily mean zeros in a bank. It's just, how what does it look like to work with someone who works with energy and money?
Yeah. So first of all, let's just deal with that little bit about success, because I think that sometimes we can say, oh, well, it doesn't matter about the money. So success is, I'm feeling happy and I've got this and I've got that, all of these things. It doesn't matter about the money. That's not true. It does matter, because if you're broke, it's going to affect the others. And we all know that having money and being miserable is absolutely not a solution. So I talk about richness, having a rich life. And that means you feel rich in whatever ways you want to, but it tends to mean that there's more joy in your life. That seems really important to people. And there's a sense of abundance, of fullness, fulfillment, like being filled full with life, not feeling like there's something missing all the time. That's not an arrival point. That, I would say, is a direction. It's like something we move towards in life, and it grows. So our richness grows as we go through it. How do we get there? The way I do it is I run courses, and the courses I run are a bit different from most courses, because I think most courses you go and learn something, you get it all in your head, and then you go away and do it. You have to practice really hard. In my courses, you show up, because it's about energy. It's a kind of immersive experience. It's almost like you sort of get bathed in this energy of this beautiful energy of money, and your own energy starts to change as a result. And I teach people, I do these things called energy activations, which are different from meditations, but they're experiences, they're very relaxing experiences that help your energy to kind of wake up and get activated in relation to all the different aspects of your relationship with money and yourself. And so you become kind of, it's like going to the gym every day, but it's an inner gym rather than an outer gym. And what happens is that along with learning some things, reading the book, asking questions, I do lots of coaching, in group coaching. So people learn from each other all the time, and then they start talking with each other and sharing their experience. And it creates a culture because I mostly run long programs. Like my main program is a year long. It's so you have time to actually create a new culture around a person, a new environment. What they describe to me more than anything these days is like it's like I feel like I'm myself. I'm free. And that to me is the greatest result. And I know that maybe in a few weeks there'll be some pressure on them and they won't feel so much like that. But once you've tasted that, you're on that path, you keep walking forwards to more and more of this feeling free. And feeling free isn't like, oh, I'm wafting around in the whatever. It's like, now I'm free. What am I going to do with my life? You actually feel like you just genuinely want to contribute and be useful and enjoy it. It's like you want the whole package. Like, who wouldn't want the whole package?
What you're saying sounds so soothing. Just
Yes,
really a
that's
very
right.
soothing experience. Because there's a lot of, there's a lot of work that I've done, I know, around money. There's a lot of, um, and oftentimes it's actually feels very tumultuous. Like it doesn't feel very soothing. It feels like like the image that comes to me right now is like jumping into a tar pit and like trying to like like pull the chains up that have come, like you're saying, from other lifetimes or my great grandmother's lifetime. And it doesn't feel easy. So the way that you describe these energy activations and kind of like, it's just being bathed in the energy of money and love and gratitude and trust and all that stuff sounds so lovely. And again, I agree with you too. I have a question here, but I do agree with you when you say, it does matter about the zeros. I really like that you said that, because a big part of this event is helping women to learn to have a relationship with money that's healthy. If they have a healthy relationship, there's experts that are going to help them like decide how to navigate how to invest money, what all that is, just really empower ourselves around this energy. Um, my question was going back. Wait, hold on. I'll edit this out, but I spaced it a minute. Oh, this is what it was. My question is about you. What you're saying is you have them do energy activations. Is there work to be done? Like, is there? We come, say we would show up. It's our group coaching call night, and we're doing energy activations, and then I get to leave, and that's it. Like, then I just get to do. Or they're a little like daily. You need to be journaling with your money daily. You need to be doing this.
The daily stuff is the activations. So I have like every day there's an activation for people to do. Well, there's 5 every week actually. So there are 240 activations, every single one on a different topic. It's just like this. That's how that happens. In the coaching, people tend to come and ask questions. And because we're talking about something that's so kind of universal, it is that beautiful experience where one person asks a question and everyone else is like, oh my goodness, that feels like my questions, which is a really nice thing. And that happens a lot when you're working with energy. And so in a way, I would say the coaching calls are a bit like the kind of, it's like the drama of life unfolding in the group. There are always a few people who are going through a period where they need extra support for some reason. And so they're always the ones who ask questions during that period. And then everybody's there and we see these stories unfolding. I think of an example last year of a woman who got a letter from the tax office saying that she had to pay back $20,000 that she'd been given during the COVID thing because she shouldn't have got it. Now, she didn't have that money. And also, as far as she knew, she should have got it. But you can imagine the kind of response somebody has when they get a letter like that, because you can't be sure that the tax office is going to understand you and agree with you. So she comes along and asks for help with that. And then over the following weeks, we're all tracking her inner progress and her outer progress. Because it's not just does she feel calm about it, which is essential if she's going to get a solution, but actually what result does she get? And the whole thing was cancelled after a month or two. And so we all got to witness that as well. And I think when we when we share that energy with people of solving problems time and time and time again that look like those things that completely like ruin our lives and make everything really difficult, when you experience that and you just see people and how they do it through being peaceful and relaxed and asking for what they want. These are the simple things that the book teaches. It's not difficult, it's so natural, it's just so like just who you are. But we've been taught so much stuff that gets in the way, and so they just learn from each other. And obviously I've had a lot of experience, so I share my experience, I share the energy of it as well, so the feeling, the inner experience of it. But it's really important that we combine that inner and outer. As you said, you were really spot on there.
That's really, I love that. The book is called Love Money, Money Loves You. That's the name
Yes.
of the book. And that, I mean, I'm excited to read it. I'm definitely going to be getting that book. And I'm also, I mean, it's just amazing that you have 240 activations in your year-long program. I mean, that just sounds like such an amazing experience for people
Yeah,
to go
I think
through.
it really, you know, if you imagine how much good it does for you if you start to exercise every day really regularly, just
Yes.
do the right thing by yourself,
Yeah.
just makes you feel so much better. This is the other part, if you like. If you do all the exercise and you eat good food, but you don't really exercise your energy and your consciousness, then you're missing the piece that actually makes you work.
Yeah. Wow. Say that again. Say that. What is the, talk about that before we go. Just that is so important. I'm like, say it again to the people in the back. Like, say that's an amazing, the piece of what makes you work. Can you speak about what you mean by that?
Let's talk a moment about consciousness then. I introduced that word right at the end. But it's, if you think about it, if you're unconscious, somebody else has to make decisions for you because you can't make decisions. We all know that when people lose consciousness, you know, forms have to be signed, things like that. So when we're conscious, fundamentally, we're able to make decisions. We can make choices. Now, we've learned a lot about awareness, and you're a coach, so everyone's growing their awareness. We're aware of all kinds of things. Do we use that awareness to make a decision? Because when you make a decision, it changes your life. That's for sure. Whether you make a decision to eat fish or chicken, that changes your life. It changes the experience inside your body. Whether you make a decision to take this job or that job, to do this business, do that business, hire this person, fire that person, every decision makes a difference. So consciousness is where it's kind of like the joint or the articulation between all that awareness that you have and what actually happens in your life, and not making decisions at all, just avoiding making decisions. We all know what that's like. We all avoid it sometimes, and things don't happen as a result, or things happen just as a result of not making the decision. So to me, this inner piece of your consciousness and your energy, which are very tightly linked together, is really where you get to influence the outcomes of your life, whether it's the choice to exercise and eat good food and then activate your energy, make yourself more alive, or anything else. And so for me, the activations of the gym, the training for that part of you, we're really training people in wisdom and responsibility and, you know, showing up for themselves and for others.
Yes. And it's true. Something that you said earlier about when you have that trust in money, then you would have that trust in life. And as you build that relationship, what's possible is that confidence to take a risk, to find out what it is you love to do with your life, what we talk a lot about purpose, what your purpose is. And um, I just think
And your
way
patience grows. This is a really important point to make. I think your patience grows. Most of those things that you'd love to do with life, they're not going to happen in 1 or 2 years. I just spent 5 years building a business that will launch in a couple of weeks. 5 years to build a business. It's all about people doing what they love to do. If I'd been impatient with that, I'd have been gone a long time ago, you know. So I think patience, realizing that the things that are really important, your purpose is really important. Give it a lifetime to grow.
Love that. That's a really great reminder. Thank you. It's beautiful. I could ask you so many more questions. I want to just be honoring of our time and our container here for the women watching as well. What are some ways that women can find you and start working with you? I know we have your book, Love Money, Money Loves You. That is a great way to get the wisdom that for the did you say it was 60 notes, right? It was 60
There are 69 messages from money.
69. Yeah. Yeah. So that
There's
sounds
about to
great.
be a new version, which will have a few extra ones as well. So.
Great. And then how can we find you on social media, or are you there, or where can
The
women come to
simplest
get in?
thing, the simplest thing actually, I have this incredibly beautiful video of the first chapter of the book, which was that one, the first message that I wrote. And if you go to lovemoneyebook.com, you can watch that video. And then if you like the message, you can sign up to get the first 4 chapters of the book for free. So you can start reading it right away. And then in the meantime, if you find that you want even more, you can then go and buy the book or get the audio book. But I think that's the easiest way in. You just get straight into it right now. So it's lovemoneyebook.com.
Lovemoneyebook.com. Great. Thank you so much. And we can go to your website, which is
sarahmccrum.com.
from.com. And is that the gift you're giving away as well?
Yes.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much. Love Money ebook. I'm going to go watch it right now and sip on some tea and watch this beautiful message. I'm excited. I've done something in the past. So I practice hypnotherapy, and I've done things where I've helped guide clients to meet their money as a being, and it comes in all these different and weird, wild, interesting things that we never really expect. So there's so many. That's just what you've done. It's a really beautiful, and your energy just really it creates a warmth. So I'm hoping that everyone that sees this will get in touch with that. So thank you so much, Sarah, again for being here. I appreciate what
Thank
you
you,
do.
Emily.